Hi there, it's Ross here again and welcome to lesson 4, which I think is my favourite lesson of them all. Today I'm going to be teaching you the most alkaline foods that you need to focus on and the most acidic foods that I want you to try to avoid. Now remember, the best way to get alkaline, energised and feeling vibrant, the quickest and most enjoyable way possible is to focus on getting the good in rather than trying to focus on eliminating the bad stuff first. Remember that. So while in this video I'm going to tell you about all of those different foods to avoid, at this stage when you're just starting out, remember that this is just a guide for your awareness rather than a direct suggestion to quit those foods cold turkey. It's more of a gentle suggestion about trying to think about moving away from them gently. So remember here, with this video particularly, the aim is to eat as much of the good stuff as possible so that we crowd out all of that bad stuff. Think about it. When you remove that pressure of cutting out the bad stuff, aka the stuff we're more often than not a little bit addicted to in one way or another, when you remove that pressure and remove that stress from your life, and instead you just focus on getting the good stuff in, it removes the stress, it removes the feeling of being deprived, it removes all of those cravings and the feelings that you're on a diet. And when you remove that pressure, it just becomes so much easier to make healthier choices. When you let yourself still have treats and still have your favourite, it makes it so much more palatable for you to eat the good stuff too. And over time, I think what you'll find is that you'll quickly start eating more and more of the good stuff, and you just won't even think about the bad stuff anymore. You'll eat less and less of the bad stuff. So let's get into those foods right away. This is the 7 alkaline foods to focus on and the 7 acid foods to avoid. Okay, so starting with those 7 alkaline foods that I want you to focus on. These foods are all highly alkaline, nutrient dense, high water content, delicious, easy to find and easy to use. There are a couple of the greens that I could have made it into this list, like watercress, beet greens, Chinese cabbage and so on, but because they're not always common and readily available, I haven't included them here. You know, one of the things that bugged me the most when I was first starting out was the number of foods and ingredients in recipes that were so hard to find. And when I did find them, I found that I used them once, and then they just sat at the back of the cupboard, never to be used again. A big waste of money. So let's get stuck in and see what the 7 most alkaline, energy boosting, nourishing, delicious foods are. And for each food you'll find the research to back up the benefits and recipes containing each of these foods below this video. So let's get started with spinach. Now, all leafy greens should be eaten in abundance, but spinach is my absolute favourite because it's so easy to buy. All shops have it, it's easy to use in recipes and in salads, and it's just delicious. Now, my other sneaky favourite reason, which we've already covered in day 1, is that you can steam down a huge amount of spinach into being a tiny, tiny mouthful. Think of it as the cheat's way to green. Baby spinach or fully grown spinach are nutritional powerhouses and are incredibly alkaline. And as with all green foods, spinach is rich in chlorophyll, it's a potent alkalizer and a blood builder, and it's also super high in vitamin K, A, manganese, folate, magnesium, iron, vitamin C, vitamin B2, calcium, potassium, vitamin E, dietary fibre. Do I need to go on? I mean, I doubt there is an all-round more healthy food on earth, and I highly encourage you to eat spinach throughout the day, every single day. Now, as mentioned earlier, I love spinach so much because it's so easy to use. I tend to include it with almost every meal, even as a side, just wilted down with lemon, salt and pepper and olive oil. But in so many recipes, as you're going to see below, you can blend or hide spinach, adding to the number of greens that you have each and every day without really affecting the taste of your meal too much. So for ease of use plus nutrient content, that's why spinach is my number 1. Second up is kale. Now, kale is another leafy green that is widely known for its cancer-fighting, cholesterol-lowering, antioxidant-rich, detoxifying goodness. It's less popular than spinach, but only because it's got a history of being cooked really badly, like cabbage, and when done right, it is absolutely delicious. See those recipes below this video, you will really thank me for those. So if you eat kale 2 to 3 times per week, you will know it and you will feel it. Like spinach, it's massively high in vitamin K, vitamin A and vitamin C, and being a leafy green, it's also got that huge chlorophyll content. It's also really powerful against cancer because kale contains at least 4 glucosinolates. Now, I don't want to lose you here by using words such as glucosinolates. All you need to know is, as soon as you eat and digest them, These glucosinolates are really easily converted by the body into cancer-fighting compounds. It's also quite amazing for lowering cholesterol, and it should be noted at this stage that steamed kale is actually better for the cholesterol fight than raw kale, but eaten raw it's also fantastic for so many reasons. Kale is also a really good immune boosting anti-inflammation powerhouse, which is so important. Now, I tend to use kale in practically every stir fry or soup that I make, and it always goes in every single one of my juices without question. It's really delicious when it's just gently fried in coconut oil with a little bit of Bragg's aminos, some salt and pepper and some lemon. It's just one of those really, really easy to cook, easy to use, easy to include in so many recipe ingredients, and that is why I love kale so much. Next up is cucumber. Now, the beauty of cucumber is its water content. It's 95% water. This is phenomenal, and you're not going to find that anywhere else with any other vegetable. It's the daddy of water content, and this of course makes it an incredibly hydrating food to consume. And it's also containing superb amounts of antioxidants, including the super important lignans. These highly beneficial polyphenols have more commonly been associated with the cruciferous vegetables, but their content over other veggies. These highly beneficial polyphenols have been more commonly associated with cruciferous vegetables, but their content in cucumbers is gaining more and more attention. Cucumbers contain high amounts of lauricyresinol, pinoresinol, and secoisolariresinol. Don't try to pronounce those yourself. These three lignans have got a huge and a very strong history of research in connection with the reduced risk of cardiovascular disease, as well as several cancer types, including breast, uterine, ovarian and prostate cancer. The best thing about cucumbers is that they provide basically the base for almost every alkaline soup, smoothie and juice, giving you a really alkaline, really nutritious base that also tastes amazing. In terms of the actual RDA nutrients per serve, cucumbers can contain a fair amount of vitamins K, C and slightly less of the A and the B vitamins, and they also contain the following alkaline minerals: calcium, iron, phosphorus, potassium, magnesium, selenium, copper, manganese, iron and zinc. With vegetables and fruits such as cucumber, I think one of the most important things is not just to recognise that RDA measured nutrients, but look at those antioxidants, the lignans, those unpronounceables that I mentioned earlier, that have had specific research done into them to prove their benefits against things such as cardiovascular disease, cancer, type 2 diabetes and so much more. Next up is broccoli. Now, broccoli is just a must, much to the dismay of kids all over the world, including my own. But if you're serious about living with health, energy and vitality, you simply have to eat broccoli. If not on a daily basis, then at least 4 times a week. Broccoli has been proven over and over and over again to be incredibly powerful Broccoli has been proven over and over again to be incredibly powerful in inhibiting cancers, supporting the digestive system, the cardiovascular system, both phases of the detoxification process in the body, and also supporting the skin, metabolism, immune system, being an anti-inflammatory and providing ample antioxidants. This sounds pretty good, right? So eaten steamed or raw, it's hugely alkaline, a hugely nutritious food. So please, please, please eat lots of it. Consciously try to get it in. Put it in salads, juices, smoothies, soups, steam it with other veggies. You can even roast it if you're having a Sunday lunch. Don't let a meal go past without thinking to yourself, how can I get some broccoli in here? And why not try the tip from day one of shaving that broccoli head into food? That works really well with your kids. Number 5 is avocado. Now, I eat a lot of avocado. Not a salad, a smoothie or a soup goes by without me adding at least half an avocado per person. Personally, I'll probably eat at least 5 to 7 avocados a week just myself. Now, I know a lot of people give avocado a bad rep because it's a high fat food. In fact, 85% of its calories come from fats, but this is totally insane, as you saw in yesterday's video. There are good fats. These good fats will not make you gain weight. It's physically impossible for these fats to make you gain weight. If anything, due to the high content of oleic acid, it can lower your cholesterol, raise your levels of high density lipoproteins while lowering the low density lipoproteins. Oleic acid also slows the development of heart disease and promotes the production of antioxidants. These beneficial omega oils also speed the metabolism, so it actually leads to weight loss rather than the weight gain that so many people are afraid of. So now that we're over that fat issue, avocado also contains a wide range of other nutrients that have got serious anti-inflammatory, heart health, cardio health, anti-cancer and blood sugar benefits, containing key antioxidants such as alpha-carotene, beta-carotene, lutein, selenium and so much more. It's a powerful, alkaline, nutrient-dense superfood. Celery is number 6. Now celery, like cucumber, is a favourite because it's alkaline and it's got really high water content, so it's used really frequently as a base for me in juices and soups. I don't use it so much in smoothies because you would have to juice it first, so you're going to double your washing up and your cleaning up. You can't really blend celery because of the long stringy fibres. So I use it a lot in juices and soups, not so much in smoothies. One of celery's biggest benefits is its vitamin C level, which has got the well-known benefits that we all know of. But one of its lesser-known nutrients are coumarins, which have been shown to inhibit several types of cancer. The beauty of the vitamin C-rich foods like celery is that they help with the most common and the most challenging health concerns. They support the immune system, they support your fight against inflammation, so it helps with things like arthritis, osteoporosis and asthma and so on. And the vitamin C significantly helps with your cardiovascular health. Plus, if you're on a weight loss journey, you'll also be happy to hear that this alkaline staple contains plenty of potassium, plenty of sodium, so it's a diuretic, which means it will help your body rid itself of excess fluids. Finally, number 7 is capsicum, also known as bell pepper, also known simply as pepper. This is an antioxidant superpower. Bell pepper is actually one of my all-time favourites because it's sweet, it's crunchy and it's refreshingly delicious. You can use it in almost any raw meal. You can grill it, you can fry it, you can roast it. It is always a winner. It is an antioxidant and an anti-inflammatory powerhouse because it contains flavonoids such as lutein, quercetin, hesperidin, and carotenoids such as alpha-carotene, beta-carotene, cryptoxanthin, lutein, zeaxanthin. All of these are massively beneficial to your health, will massively stop the aging process, will fight free radicals, and are anti-inflammatory powerhouses. Of all of these, the carotenoids have become the most interesting. They're impressively beneficial to our health and they've been researched so much recently. They've been proven to help with so many problems such as cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, macular degeneration, cancer, inflammation, so much more. And bell peppers contain over 30 different members of the carotenoid family. The only other food that comes close to this is tomato, but all the other foods are also runs when it comes to carotenoid content. So I love bell peppers. I love how many antioxidants they contain. I love how delicious they are. I love how easy it is to get them into your food, get them into your life. So I want you to really focus on bell peppers, not just as a delicious snack, but something you can include in as many meals as possible. Now, finally, and this is something that's really important and a little bit eye-opening to a lot of people. So I want you to think about this. If you made a smoothie or a juice containing just half a cup of each of these 7 ingredients, look at the nutrient content it would give you. 1,326% of your vitamin K, 243% of your vitamin C, 386% of your vitamin A, and almost half of your fibre content, your magnesium, your manganese, potassium, all of these nutrients in one glass before you've even left the house in the morning. And not only that, it's giving you those huge antioxidants, huge alkalinity, huge chlorophyll benefits, huge detoxification benefits. You know, it's getting you more than your 5 serves of veg before you even leave the house. I cannot express, if you follow this stuff, how amazing you're going to be feeling within the next couple of days. But as wonderful as all these foods are, and as beautiful as all these foods are, and as amazing as they are, there's also acidic foods out there. So let's now get on to the 7 most acidic foods that I want you to start to transition away from. So as I've always said, the fastest way to integrate the alkaline foods into your lifestyle is to focus on getting the good in rather than on eliminating the bad. So I'm going to reiterate here, there is no immediate pressure on you to eliminate anything. Let's just focus on getting the good in for now. I'm giving you the foods in this video to let you know the very worst should you start to try to transition away from anything, and give you the knowledge so that when you're feeling strong, you can choose to ignore any of these cravings. So let's get on to these foods. And first up is soda, soft drinks and colas. and these are without question the worst. If you're going to try and transition away from anything, if you want to try and be strong with anything straight out the gate, cut soda, soft drinks, colas, all that stuff out of your life. So while focusing on the good first is a good thing, rather than crowding out the bad, if you're really going to try to transition away from these. And this includes also bottled juices, iced teas, vitamin enriched waters, sports drinks. They all, yes, even the vitamin water and the flavoured mineral waters, the iced teas, the sports drink, they've all got around 18 to 35 grams of sugar per serve. That's like 10 teaspoons of sugar per serve. It's crazy. This is hideously acid forming. The diet versions don't contain the sugar as such, but they contain sweeteners that are just as bad. Plus they all contain the flavourings, the preservatives, the colourings and the other chemicals that are quite frankly a pH disaster. You know this, I know this, it's time to stop consuming these. Here's what I propose. Don't go cold turkey, but by the end of next week, try to have this eliminated. Don't do anything for the next couple of days, but on the day after that, just have half the amount you would have had normally. Then for the next few days, half that amount as well. Keep going and keep going, keep chipping away at it, write it down, make it quantifiable, make it a goal that you can realistically follow and stick to. Don't consume this stuff at home, only consume it when you're out and about or at work and you've got habits formed. Then move to not consuming out and about at work, only when you're on the go. Then when you're, if you just keep changing your behaviour, changing your habits, if you slowly chip away at that habit, day by day with measurable goals, with an end point in mind, you're going to find it a lot easier than going cold turkey. Plus it's going to be more achievable and a more sustainable way of sticking to it in the long term. But the bottom line is this, while I always say crowd out the bad, start with adding the good stuff in, don't worry about the bad stuff now. When it comes to sodas, soft drinks and colas, when you've got the sugar or the sweetener combined with the chemicals, the flavourings, the preservatives, the colourings, the aspartame, all those types of things, this is something you really need to move away from as soon as possible. Okay, number 2 is alcohol. Now the truth is, as fun as it is, alcohol is an acidic metabolite made from acetaldehyde and sugar, and it's very toxic to your body. The truth is that I know a lot of us consume alcohol during the week to unwind after work, and we consume it in larger quantities on the weekend to socialise. Now the thing is, I'm not going to tell you now that you can never have alcohol. And I'm also not going to tell you that you can never let your hair down again or go for a night out with your friends or have a bottle of wine with dinner here and there. What I will say is that you're going to get an incredible amount of benefit from transitioning away and from eliminating the midweek drinks first. This is achievable. Just the same as with the soda we talked about before and the caffeine that we're going to get onto next, just try to cut back a little bit. Don't put pressure on yourself right now. Focus more on getting that good stuff in. But with the soda, the alcohol and the caffeine and every other acidic food and drink that are unnecessary, try to avoid the ones you really don't have to have. The coffee that you don't need, the 5th block of chocolate or the extra glass of wine, the one for the road, start with these. And this is why I would say start with the midweek stuff. If you can cut that out midweek, still allow yourself that time, that easy escape at the weekend, whatever you will, but cut out the stuff in the middle of the week first. This is the stuff we're talking about, the unnecessary stuff. Start with that first and you'll find you'll go a long way quickly. So number 3 is caffeine. So coffee as a pure espresso shot is acid forming. It's not the worst in the world, but it is acid forming. The problem is for most people is you then add the milk, the sugar, the cream, the syrups, the flavours, the chocolate sprinkles and everything else that I see wobbling out of a grande cup from Starbucks, and that's where you're starting to get into trouble. So not only are you getting the low pH of the coffee itself, but then most people are throwing in sugar, dairy, sweeteners, syrups and all this other acidic stuff. All these acids that are so acidic, they're in this video, they're in this top 7. But you can start taking positive steps straight away. If you're someone that has a super big grande cup, just move down to a smaller size at first. If you've got all the syrups and all the flavourings in there, just go without those, they're totally unnecessary. If you're having 3 a day, next day have 2. Have 2 for the next week. Then try to move to 1. Then to every other day. Then at weekends. You can see how this works. If you have 2 spoons of sugar, go for 1 spoon, then half. You can even transition to not having the milk go black. I highly recommend following up a coffee with 3 times the quantity of water that you just drank as coffee. If you have an espresso, this doesn't count. You still have to have at least 300 ml of alkaline water afterwards, but you hear what I'm saying. Mega hydrate afterwards. Now, a great alternative for coffee is rooibos tea, which is also known as red bush, because this is caffeine free, it's a strong antioxidant, but it's a good replacement for coffee because it's also got that bitter taste that coffee lovers love. And remember, black tea and green tea also contain caffeine, and often you would have these with milk and sugar too, so try to transition away from those. And as a final note, don't have decaffeinated. The decaffeination process is highly carcinogenic. You'd be better off having just the straight normal coffee than having decaffeinated coffee. Number 4, and this is going to be a quick one, is trans fats. These are horribly acidic, artery clogging, trans and partially hydrogenated fats, and they're in a huge proportion of the acid forming foods that we're trying to avoid. Thinking fast foods, takeaways, cakes, biscuits, pizzas, fries, pastries, pies, cookies, ice cream, you get the picture of these foods. These are the foods that you naturally know you should be avoiding if you're serious about getting alkaline, if you're serious about getting energized. These foods all contain huge amounts of trans fats and partially hydrogenated fats. These foods are also acidic, they're also inflammatory, they're also suppressive to the immune system, so they really are the foods you want to be moving away from. 5th in the list is dairy. Now this is a challenge for some people, but it's something that I do urge you to move away from. Dairy is an acidic, mucus forming food, and despite the lies we've been told by the dairy industry and the government, which is funded by the dairy industry, who tell us that we need dairy for calcium and strong bones, this is a complete lie. The Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine has researched and proven that dairy actually weakens your bones, and that the calcium from dairy is almost entirely undigestible and unusable. Dairy is highly acidic, and when you're in an acidic state, the first thing the body will do is draw calcium from your bones. It's why there are so many studies linking lots of soda consumption with osteoporosis. You're putting something very acidic in, the body draws calcium from the bones, you get osteoporosis, you get weak bones. The same is true for dairy. So what I want you to do is move away from dairy, again a transition. But if you're someone that's consuming like 300 ml or more of milk per day, you're going to really feel the benefit from cutting this out. If you've got any skin conditions, these are so frequently due to the excessive dairy that the body cannot process properly, and it excretes the toxins from this dairy through your skin. Now the biggest sources of dairy in our diet are generally milk on top of cereals and in tea and coffee, cheese in sandwiches and on meals, and cream in desserts. So let's turn that around. This is one of the easiest to avoid and the most powerful once removed. Now I know there's a social element here as well to some degree, so a little bit of cheese at a dinner party or when you're with friends with wine, it won't hurt that much. What we're talking about is the habitual milk on cereal, milk in tea, cheese on top of meals, dairy in meals, cream, ice cream, those types of things, the habitual stuff that's in big concentrated quantities. Number 6 is eggs. Now eggs are really acidic. In fact, there's a recent study that's shown that egg consumption is nearly as bad for the heart as smoking. There are so many ways to eat enjoyably without eating eggs. According to T. Colin Campbell, who wrote the book The China Study, he says even small intakes of animal foods, meat, eggs and milk, are associated with significant increases in chronic degenerative diseases. People who ate the most animal-based foods got the most chronic disease. People who ate the most plant-based foods were the healthiest and tended to avoid chronic disease. And eggs are up there with the worst. They have an immediate impact on the blood and will cause you to stay rooted in a state of acidity. So try to avoid eggs. And finally, sugar. Sugar is a broad one to include, like dairy, trans fats and meats, because let's face it, it's in everything. Nobody's sitting there eating a spoon of sugar just off a spoon, but there is nothing that will determine whether a food is more acidic than the sugar content. Bananas, for example, are a great example of this. You would think bananas, because of their high potassium level, that they'd be quite alkaline, but no, the sugar overrides all of the nutrients in the banana and makes it highly acidic. And on that point, sugar is sugar. It may have a higher or a lower GI, but it still affects your blood in the same way. It still makes you acidic. No matter how quick or fast the body metabolizes it, sugar has the same impact. Sugar will make you fat, it will keep you fat, it will keep your energy levels desperately low. It will ruin your skin and it will clog your thinking, it will leave you mentally tired, physically tired, and it will keep you acidic. Now, you know the foods and the drinks that are high in sugar, so just try to minimize this and keep moving forward towards the alkaline, life-giving foods. Now, sneaky sources of foods include fruit juices, condiments, dressings, sauces, breads, bottled drinks. I really recommend you check out the guide in the resources below called How to Completely Banish Sugar and Turn Energy Dips into Energy Hits. Catchy title, I recommend you check it out. Now remember, again, this isn't about restriction, frustration, starvation, or feeling like you're desperately restricting yourself from your favourite foods. All that's going to do is send a message to your brain that you are craving, and your brain will automatically make you crave the things you're deprived of. Plus, if you're coming from a diet that contains sugar or caffeine and yeast and trans fats, your body will still have addictions to these. So you want to go easy on yourself, you want to transition, do it bit by bit. If you still need to have a treat and be a little bit naughty, you can do that. But be conscious about it. Don't just throw yourself into a cake shop. Be conscious, be aware of your body, and keep an eye on where you want to get to. Always have your goals in the front of your mind. So with that being said, these are the foods to transition away from. You don't need to go cold turkey and feel bad. You just need to feel safe in the knowledge that the more alkaline you get, the more you continue on this journey, the less you're going to crave these foods. So take that forward, enjoy the recipes below, check out the research below this video, and I'll see you all again on day 5 tomorrow.